Yo, you watching the Third Party Podcast with Dr. Ginneh Akbar.
Hey, I'm Dr. Ginneh Akbar, and I'm here on the Third Party Podcast.
You know, since we got Ginneh Akbar in here, they say, Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah. That's how you got me. That's how you got me. Something with the Arabic, with some Arabic pronunciation in it. Yo, my name is Muhsin Kaysen, aka the Muslim Boxer, with the Third Party Podcast. But y'all know as I go, it's aka Mr. NyQuil, aka Mr. Benadryl, aka Mrs. Anesthesia, aka Mr. Therapy, aka, you know, that's what I do. And here, my host, Rod DeVoe.
Hey, listen, Third Party Podcast, episode 7. Excited today. We got the good doctor on the show.
I thought you was about to say the great doctor, because I thought you could have
you
led with that.
I see what you did there.
Dr. Akbar, you know what I'm saying?
The great doctor.
There you go.
Ginneh Akbar.
The Akbar.
Hey, welcome to the show, Dr. Ginneh.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Dr. Ginneh Akbar of Akbar and Associates. Expertise is in children and family services. Along with direct services, she specializes in research and consultation around racism, social media, child welfare. She kind of like Philly, kind of Baltimore, kind of Philly, grew up in both places.
You heard me, dummy.
You said what?
She know what I said. She know what I said. Don't worry about what's understood.
What language is this, bro?
What's understood ain't gotta be explained.
I feel like I'm more Philly now, to be honest.
Dr. Akbar graduated from Masterman High School, undergrad from UMBC, master's from Temple, doctorate from UPenn. Also to note, Dr. Akbar has 2 self-described feisty daughters. She also is the department chair and program director, graduate social work at Westchester University. We gotta have a game today.
No, you don't.
You ain't even done yet.
Back in the day, we used to have this other podcast.
Okay, so she's a podcast host.
She was my
You ain't even put that on the resume.
Listen,
shame on you.
She ain't new to this. She do this.
Oh
She
my
do
God,
this.
y'all are ridiculous.
So
It's
she was my
actually new to
co.
this. She true to this.
Oh yeah. All right. Listen.
Just let you know.
So she was my co-host, man. Just great person, super intelligent, super funny. She got this book that I've been begging her to write. What's the title of the book?
100 Single Days.
100 Single Days. Oh man, it's hilarious, man. So yeah.
Do tell more.
No, it's
What's
trash.
the premise? All right, no. Real quick. What's the premise of the book?
Well, it's just about, my life after like being married and in a relationship for like 20 years and then transitioning to being like a single person and trying to navigate what life is like, dating and, all that kind of stuff. Being a parent.
That's going crazy.
Listen, some of the stories.
I would read your book
Yes.
for sure. Because I'm in your boat right now.
Yeah.
Listen,
Are you? Yes.
I'm in your boat right now. Kid, single, all of that.
Yes.
What's your dating app of choice?
Oh, well, I got kicked off Tinder somehow. I'm not sure why. I just logged on.
How you get kicked off of Tinder?
I don't know. I logged on one day and it was like, you have violated our terms of service. And I was like,
Too many dates.
I think somebody reported me, like one of the guys reported me or something. I don't know.
You wasn't giving no rap.
No,
so
I don't know.
reported you.
Actually, to be honest, I don't date that much anymore. I'm burnt out.
To keep it short, though, dudes was mad because she was busting them, yo.
No,
She was busting them.
no.
She walked in, your shoes untied.
No. I'm
Your
not
shirt,
like that.
Your collar wrinkled.
No, nope.
You ain't like that?
No, I'm so nice.
I want to say that growing up, being like in high school, so what's that, between like late 90s,
Yeah.
95, 97. She was one of the first Muslimahs I know.
Dang,
I'm talking about like old school khimar with the pen.
With the pen,
yeah. She was one of the first.
You had the nation style. Okay.
Well, it was like the
No, it
Philly
wasn't.
style.
Yeah, pin behind the ears, pin under the neck.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was joking around like, yo, like you probably actually started the wave. She started the fad.
I did.
No.
She started.
no.
She was like,
You
know
came
what I
to Philly and they was like, I like that. I likes that.
No.
So talk about that. Like you being in high school in Masterman, right? Which is
Yeah.
not a a predominantly white school at the time.
Well, at the time, no, it was much more mixed than it is now.
Okay,
yeah, at the time,
so Masterman is one of the more like academic schools in Philly,
like Poly, or
City,
exactly, City.
Got you.
So talk about that.
That's so interesting. I think I was thinking about it more now as a parent of teenagers. What I would feel like if my kid came home and was like, "Oh, I'm converting to this new religion that I'm not," and I'm very open. But I can imagine to my parents it probably was a shock at the time.
Right.
But I come from a very supportive family. We weren't very religious. I was baptized as Episcopalian. That's what my mom's family was. We didn't really go to church, only if I went with like my great grandmom's house or something like that. It just started off as me just being curious. My dad actually, there was somebody who my dad worked for the city at the time. There was somebody who worked for the city whose son got killed around that time. I can't remember what the guy's name was. But my dad went to the janazah and brought home some materials that they had from the janazah, like some pamphlets or whatever, and he gave them to me. And I was like, oh, cool. So I read them. So really my dad was the one, I don't even know if he knows if he knew this, that sort of like sparked my, shout out to dad, who like kind of sparked my interest. I just started reading more, and at the time, I don't even know. I guess my sort of boyfriend at the time, who later became my husband, who later became my ex-husband, who now is my co-parent, is Muslim. He didn't really talk too much about it, but everybody assumed that because I was like interested in converting, like, oh, you're doing this to get the guy, But it wasn't like that at all. He really wasn't like forcing me. He really didn't even I think it was more a surprise to him that I was even interested in it too. I had a couple Muslim friends in high school. Shout out to Karima and shout out to Sophia, who like recognized that I was reading and they started inviting me to Jummah. It wasn't a secret. Like everybody that was my friends knew that I was like curious and learning, and so I always was like, oh, people knew that I was like sort of like nerdy. I was kind of like a bookworm. So
you don't say.
Shut up. So it wasn't that odd that I was like trying to learn new things.
7 doctorates later, she's like, it's a little nerdy. Just a little bit.
Just a little. And so, I always like when people started like rumbling about like, oh, she's converting, oh, she's doing it for the dude or whatever. I'm like, well, no, none of y'all have ever invited me to church. So, what I mean? Like, I would have went.
Highest bidder wins.
Right. I had one girlfriend, shout out to Angela Davenport. She invited me to go to church with her. She probably doesn't even remember that. But other than that, nobody ever else invited me to go to church. And she ended up marrying a guy that's Muslim. So then one year I fasted for Ramadan, and that really is what did it for me. I would go studying every day. I was like getting up. I lived in Chestnut Hill. I was like getting up early in the morning, going down to the free library downtown, taking books out the library. Wow. I was like on the internet finding all this stuff. And I think I was 17. It was April 17th, 1997. I do remember the day.
Wow.
I took Shahada at, they used to have Jummah at community college across the street. I think Sophia Islam was there with me. Maybe Karima was there with me. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, Shahada then, yeah. So I think about like my parents were very supportive. They never said a bad word about Islam. They never said anything about me trying to like connect to my boyfriend. They were just really like, I told my mom like, I was a little fly girl, whatever, the little short shorts. I was like, I need all new clothes. My mom was like, here's my credit. Like literally my parents were like,
nice.
They were like, I was like getting overgarments made. I was getting up, early in the morning to go meet my whatever, go to Karima used to have some lady in like Southwest. I would catch the bus out there on Saturdays with her to go to classes. Now I can imagine as a parent what they probably was saying like to their friends, like, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Negro's a terrorist.
Right.
She about to join the cult.
Right. But they never said a bad word about it to me. They always were like very, very supportive.
Well, before you left Baltimore, what messages did you like get connected
to?
So
I grew up in Baltimore. We moved from Baltimore to DC. We left Baltimore when I was in second grade. And so then I lived in DC third, fourth, and fifth grade. Okay. Then we moved to Philly in sixth grade. So I've been in Philly since sixth grade.
Oh yeah. So you ain't really from Baltimore.
No, I know. But my family still lives there though. None of my family lives in Philly. I have no family in Philly. When I went to UMBC, and I went back there, then I would go to Masjid Inshira, I think.
Okay, Inshira.
Yeah.
Wait, Imam Muti? Imam Darrell?
Oh, Imam Darrell. Yeah,
that's my guy. That's my guy right there.
He's the one that's like a sex therapist, right?
Yeah. Him and they are amazing.
They still there?
Yeah, they still there.
I remember them.
You know, black people ain't giving up they
so
seat.
I used to go to Inshra, and my brother was killed when I was a senior at UMBC, and his wife came to his funeral, and I was very touched by that. I remember because she didn't know me, you know, but I was in Juma one day, and I was crying. I was all upset, and I talked to her, and then she came to my brother's funeral, and I was just like, oh, these people are they're legit.
That's dope.
Support from
and I went to Al Haq for a little while too, but that was in the
that was my masjid.
Was it?
So
that's where they stole my pocketbook at.
Oh, trust me, that's where they stole people's keys.
Wait, what's the story around?
So Malik and Sophia had came to visit me, and we went there, and they weren't going to let us in because they had Malika or Sophia. One of them had like their earlobes showing, so they were not going to let.
They wasn't going to let her.
No,
in.
they didn't let her in. They was in the. They were like in front of the masjid, like you can't come in because your ears are showing. So Malika got into an argument. They're like, "You're going to turn away my blessings because my earlobes." I was like, "Oh my God, girl, just cover your ears." I can't even remember if we ended up staying or not. I don't remember, but I know that I went back there another time. And I had a little clutch. It was like maybe this big. I had my cell phone in it and my wallet. And during the prayer, after the prayer was over, my bag was gone. And I was like, oh my God, somebody stole my bag. So I'm like, somebody came in there with their earlobes covered, stealing it though, right? But that's the contradiction. It's like, you gotta be this way, but yet you know, whatever. Right. But they say people would steal people's shoes out there. They
steal people's shoes. One brother, I remember Brother Muhammad had his shoes in there with his keys in it. Took the car, took the shoes, took it for a joyride, came back. So
I went home, got home, and I was all upset. And I called, my parents lived in California at the time, and I called my mom, and my mom was all upset. She was like, "What's the name of the masjid?" My mom called the masjid, asked to speak to the imam, and was like, "My daughter came there for prayer. Where is her?" You know what I mean? And he called me like a couple hours later, like, "I got your stuff."
Wow. You know what's crazy? At that time, it was another Imam Darrell.
That's who it was, Imam Darrell.
Yeah, Imam Darrell at that time.
Yep. I went back down there. He had my bag. The money was gone, but my phone was in there, and he gave me $20. And he was like, "What's this bag called?" I was like, I don't know. He was like, "It's a clutch, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You should have clutched it."
Clutch that joint next time.
They call it a clutch for a reason, sister.
No, literally, that's what he said. I was like, "Thank you." So I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Being in high school in Philly and being young and being Muslim, your parents were supportive. You had a couple friends. Like, was it any adversity though in that?
It was a welcoming time, I think, at that time. I think the struggle for me was that I was raised in such a liberal environment. Islam put so many limits on my life that I didn't even have there before, right? So it's like you had a very open and free childhood and free like life experiences. Now to transition yourself into all these rules that you have to follow all the time. And so that was really a struggle for me a little bit. Like,
did you feel pressure to like live up to all the rules immediately?
Somewhat, right? And so like, I think back then, and even now to some extent, I don't know, I'm not as involved in the Muslim community, but there was so much pressure to look a certain way, right? So you have to be covered, you have to do this, and you go to certain places, you can't wear bright colors, and you go this place and you can't, you know.
Well, you can wear bright colors?
Oh, yeah. You never heard that one before?
No, I know. It's just funny to hear from your generation.
Oh, yeah.
Because my mom's generation the same way. She wore all black.
Yeah, that's how it was. So, you know, so some places I felt, you know, welcomed and some I didn't. And I had to sort of find my middle ground as to what. And so, you know, I felt like religion is supposed to make things better for you and not harder for you necessarily. And so I was like, let me find the way that this is going to work the best for me. But I could see how people just got caught up and extremely they went to something that is not sustainable long term, right? Even though it says, you know, follow the middle path, right? Find the way that's going to make you be able to stick to it. But so many people just immediately go to the extreme, and then you can't maintain that life.
I threw away like all my CDs.
Yeah,
like, you know what CDs are? No, because you agreeing. Like, bro, have you ever used a CD?
Well, I had a pamphlet.
All right. Remember you said the CD books?
Remember, all my siblings your age.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
okay. How old are you?
30.
Oh, a little baby. Okay.
Right. She like, oh,
Little tiny baby. You will, baby. Let me get your period. Yeah.
but yeah, man, I remember that and just throwing away everything.
Yeah. But people, for women, I think it's different. There's so much concern with how you look, right? Like, because I used to always say to my family too, like, nobody is really questioning, like, you don't believe in Jesus Christ no more as Lord and Savior. You know, people are like, you got overgarment on. I'm like, that's not really what the religion is about. Like, why are you not asking me more questions about what I actually believe in, you know? Right. But people weren't doing that. They were just like, do you look the part, you know? And that's from like people that weren't Muslim and that were. Yeah.
So what's your perspective on like the Muslim community now?
So a lot of the friends that I made grew up Muslim. And so they came from Muslim families. So I did feel a little bit, I guess inadequate is the word in terms of like my like
support
and also how I sort of interpreted the religion, because I do feel like how I was interpreting my Islam was more in line with how I was raised, right? Like I was raised, and so I didn't lose all of that.
Right.
But I do feel like the community in Philly was much more conservative than what I was used to.
Yeah.
And so this happens a lot in religious communities too. There's these expectations for often girls and women, right, to behave a certain way. So even though like a lot of my friends that I was with, like, and I, you know, really credit them for my early, like, sort of Islamic community. They really did help me and teach me a lot. You know, not growing up in a Muslim family was like just really different. And so I feel like a lot of their family sort of wanted to adopt me, but you know, I still have my kind of own ways. And so I wasn't really like, I didn't need a Muslim parent at that time. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You had a bunch of Muslim uncles and aunts and all of that.
Now as a parent, it's a protective factor, right? Like I would be the same way with my kids. At the time, I couldn't understand it as like, let's help this kid. You know what I mean?
Because if you have influence on your kid's peer group,
absolutely,
you know that everybody, you know the values,
you know
the
what
level
they
of
do.
trust,
right? Absolutely,
stuff like that. Yeah, it's interesting because you know I converted not when I was in high school, but in the same era. And, you know, a lot of people look at it like, especially in Philly.
80 what? So
you know what?
Right.
80 what?
Like in Philly, right? You know, it's this boom of Muslims.
Yeah.
Like it's Little Mecca, right?
Yeah.
It's Philly. And a lot of people even look back at it like a golden age.
Oh,
in
interesting.
Philly, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
There's lots of conversions.
Yeah, a lot of conversions, a lot of communities. I had a very similar purview, but from a male perspective of like being an outsider coming in and just trying to find places and you know, and even now today, I still feel like it's certain families, like big families that have adopted me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, some of the older brothers, you know, they still be like, yo, this is my son over here. You know what I mean? So, but really having that pair group, like you said, as a parent and looking at things from that perspective.
How was your first fast?
I enjoyed it. I mean, even though I'm not as like strict on the rituals of Islam now or some of the tenets of Islam now, I really look at that period of my life very much like, very fondly. Like it was just very peaceful. And I think it taught me a lot about patience. Taught me a lot about like just myself, getting to know myself really well. I have an interesting relationship with fasting too, because I've dealt with depression a lot, sort of going through my life, and also eating disorders. So fasting became like a trigger for me, like at other points in my life. So I wasn't able to fast. That's a whole other conversation too. But I think that's important when you're talking about mental health, right? Because I had a lot of conversations with Muslims around that time about like, what does it mean to get treatment and still put these sort of like parameters around when you're eating and whatever. My first fast was great. Yeah.
Ramadan get people, yo.
It does.
It really get everybody.
Like if somebody like thinking about it, you be like, why don't you just try to fast for Ramadan?
No, it is it.
Try that journey to change your life.
It will. It will.
That detox is crazy.
Yeah.
And just
for anybody.
Like, the hyper focus.
Also the community, you know,
right,
it just was great.
Right.
And I also had an interesting, I think, experience going from Philly, and then I went to Penn State. And so being around a lot of just mostly Black Muslims here, and then going to Penn State main campus was a lot of international families. So that was a really good learning experience for me. And then I went from Penn State. I left Penn State and went to UMBC. And that was a different level too. There was a lot of like more international families there too, but different from Penn State even. So yeah.
As a therapist, do you see Muslim clients now?
So I don't have a large practice now, but I do get a lot of inquiries from Muslim families. I do, yeah.
Like, what do you think the name is? What
I'm
when
not
they
sure.
see Dr.
I mean, I
Akbar
think on my
or-
website I do say like I think I might mention even like religious trauma or talking about religion or as one of the things that I like specialize in. But it must be the name, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Speaking of like religious trauma, you know, there is, especially in the Black community, you have the Imam, and he basically turns into the Imam, the social worker, the custodian, the financial advisor, everything.
The marriage counselor.
The marriage counselor, and you know, I was one of them. I did some counseling with an Imam, and it's like they tell you from a religious aspect. All right, you know, well, make sure you fast if you're going through something, or you know, you got an addiction or something like that. And they're like, all right, listen, restore cap,
Right.
Hey, throw black seed over your shoulder.
Yeah, you need a little more than that,
And you're gonna be
though.
all right. Talk about, you know,
Yeah.
what people actually need as far as
Like
religious
support,
counseling and support.
Yeah. I think that, you know, I'm never going to like, am I allowed to curse? No. Okay, I won't curse. All right. I'm never going to poo-poo on a religious.
You want to say poo-poo, you might as well curse, dog.
Said that one.
Hey, you might poo-poo, you might as well like.
Listen, we won't even allow that one. That was a curse word, dog.
It was, I'm just like,
All right, I'm never going to shit on a religious counselor, right?
Right.
I'm never going to say like, don't do that. But what
Right.
I think is that we need more imams or whatever who know about mental health and support,
Right.
and who can say, I can help support your spiritual needs, and also you need some other more significant support in whatever area too, right?
Yeah, because a lot of especially the older brothers, they go through a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And then you wind up having kids
Yes.
who they not you know, basically they didn't experience the trauma, but they experienced the
parents' trauma.
The parents'
Yeah.
trauma. So then it turned out to be a lot more quiet, a lot more reserved, a lot more like, you know, emotionally concealed. Hey, listen, I've had a lot of religious trauma, but I like just the fact of talking about it, because we weren't allowed to talk about it.
Right.
What you crying over spilled milk
Yeah.
for?
And if
That
you're
was
black
it.
on top of it, it's
What?
like, you know, mental health treatment is not something that people just naturally are going to gravitate to. I think it's changing.
I think sometimes we isolate like Muslim problems like it's not human problems, right? Because our community goes through the same thing
Yeah.
that everybody else goes through. So talk about like the shift that you've seen just in the awareness, because even like, you know, I've been in places where people would say, I'm not going to no counseling because they're not Muslim or they're not any man.
Oh, interesting.
Like, how did you see that that shift, and how has it grown?
I can't speak for Muslims though, right?
Right.
Because I'm not like a little isolated from the community really, but I think mental health in general is more accepted now, right? Like, whereas back in the day, I would have never said to my parents, like, I really need to go to a therapist. Like, my 16-year-old has said to me, like, we've talked about her she's been to therapy before, but talk about going back to a therapist. Like, it's something that kids are talking about now that we didn't do that back in the day, you know? I think there's a shift in how we look at mental health treatment, which I think in general is good. I do think that religious communities tend to be more insular, right? They tend to keep the problems within and that's something we're taught too as black families too, is like, keep it in our house. So like I said, that's fine. But if you want to do that, then you need to have imams that are trained in either understanding the mental health issues or know where the resources are to make sure that your people get what they need.
I agree with you, but this is the thing. Like, you have a therapist, not you, but you have a therapist who deals with mental families, mental health, and all of those stuff. And then you have a kid. Let's just say.
This is all hypothetical.
Friend, right?
This is
Yeah.
all hypothetical.
I'm gonna just say no. I'm gonna say me,
Okay.
right?
All right.
How you talk to a kid about, you know, he come in the house and he ain't like, yeah, you know, my stepmom, you know, when I go to my stepmom's house and I go to my mother's house, and how I feel about my father having three. My father had 3 wives when he was young. How do you even talk about
Well,
that?
that's the thing. I think that it's the therapist it's not the therapist's job to make a judgment about that, right? So if you're coming in and you don't know about that, the therapist should have an air of curiosity about what that's like for you and what that would, what that experience is like for you. And then it's also their, duty to do some research about it, to consult with somebody who does know about it. Different types of family arrangements are more common now. That's one of the things we talk about even in my classes when I teach like therapeutic approaches to counseling and stuff like that. We talk about like, don't make assumptions about what somebody's family is like. Don't assume that it's a man, one woman, and children, right? Because families look all different kinds of ways. Right. And so a good therapist should recognize that families can look all kinds of ways. Regardless of what your personal feeling is about that, you should still have a, maybe that's the draw, because on my website I do talk about like, just different types of families and stuff like that. So people come to me, I guess asking about those kind.
So are most of those requests, without getting into, are they based around like family, depression, or
all
marriage?
Different things. Marriage, kids, families, all different things.
So when I saw a therapist, they was just like, look.
You saw a therapist?
Tell me more. Was it a Muslim therapist?
No.
Okay.
But he was just like, look, you tell me the rules. He said, but if you say these are the guidelines, then that's the base of where I'm gonna start.
Okay.
Like, kind of like telling me the guidelines and stuff.
That sounds like a dope therapist.
So one of the other things that you research and consult on is social media. So I guess you wouldn't know like from a Muslim perspective, but just as a youth perspective, what are some of the trends you see?
It's hard because there's so many good things that come from social media, right? Like that allows us connections, allowed us to, get and understand people's worldviews all across the world. It's connected us in ways. Like I have a daughter who has a genetic disorder. I met other families with this rare disorder, kids with this rare disorder that
via social media.
But, there's also the dangers of like all the other things that come with it, right? Everybody wants to be an Instagram baddie, right? Like, like it's just, this culture of how women should look, even for men, how men should look, how women should act.
Man, listen, I got to keep up, dog. These young boys out here.
I mean, and then now this whole new thing with like the Manosphere, the Black Manosphere.
Wait, what's that?
You don't know about that? And the passport bros and all that stuff? Oh, y'all don't know about that?
We lost. And I'm also
wait, Manosphere?
Yeah.
What's Manosphere?
So it used to be like this part of the internet. You heard of like incels before? How they say like incels are y'all are looking at me like
I don't think you realize who you're talking to.
Oh my gosh. So it used to be sort of like this fringe part of the internet where it was like incels are it stands for involuntary celibates. It's like a
still lost, but go ahead.
it's like the stereotype of like nerdy guys who couldn't get dates and don't like women. Like it used to be like a fringe sort of thing of like a joke, right? But now it's more, and I've seen this shift since I've been single. It's more in the mainstream now, and a lot more black men are like buying into it, right? A lot of it is very like sexist towards black women specifically. Like they don't like all the things that black women are doing, right? Like you shouldn't wear weaves, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't travel, it's like all these conversations around should women pay 50-50 or should men be the providers, but women need to be traditional, but you also need to go to work and you also are gold digger. It's like all these different things. So it's like you really can't
That's
win.
A whole show right there.
It's a whole show,
wow.
Yeah. And so I think that our kids getting this rhetoric is really different, our young adults getting that, and then also the pressure to look and act a certain way is just, it's just a lot.
So what do you think parents should do, like, with their kids as far as listening to all of this bull crap? Like, how do you manage that?
It's very hard. Like, my kids have cell phones. They've had them for a while. I think about parenting in the way that I cannot be there with you 100% of the time.
Right.
Hopefully me and your father and the people that we love and trust have given you the tools that you need to navigate the world. If you have questions about that, you can come back to us. One thing I really also say with my kids too is that even if you don't feel comfortable coming to us, I know that we have a village of people who have the same values as me. So if you can't come to me, you can go to Aunt so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so, and they will hopefully talk with you, because you can't always go to your parents. One of the things with religious communities, you try to like insulate your kid from the world, right? you hear that all the time. What is it, Dunya? Whatever.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
From the dunya.
I was one of them.
How old do we lie?
I was one of them kids.
You cannot hide your kids from the world.
My parents tried to circle me in like Yet-Juj and Medjuj, Gog and Magog. Just put a whole ring around me and just never. They try to put everything in those.
And then what happens when you break it down? Then you got to find a balance between letting your kids know what the world is like and also protecting them from it. Social media has just busted that wide open. I'm having conversations with kids about things that I would have never thought of when I was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old.
You see a lot.
I mean, it's stuff that we didn't have to deal with. You know, like kids, like they see porn like so early. Like when we was growing up, like it was
It's magazines.
Yeah, but even it was, bro, VHS tape. Like you had to. You came up on.
Listen, catalogs. I was here to say catalogs.
But listen, they still used to put the paper bag over magazines that had too revealing stuff when I was growing up.
That's true, yeah.
And when I was 13, 14, 15, like somebody's parents may have had a tape or something like that. And the whole neighborhood like passed that around.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
It wasn't like.
Absolutely.
Now it's everywhere.
It was crazy. I caught my first nipple at 5. But
this guy.
And
you said I could curse.
I said nipple. Nipple
it's not a curse.
Nipple is a scientific word.
Absolutely.
Areola. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, but even that right there. How about this? We weren't even allowed to say that.
And so that's the thing. Also, you need to teach your kids about sex education.
No, my mom. Hey, shout out to Sister Viola. I love you to death. She ripped the naked parts out of the anatomy book, out of the science book. So literally.
And then, I have friends like that. They never had any talk or any sexual experiences, and then you marry them off, and then they're supposed to just. I guess you're supposed to figure it out with your husband and your wife or whatever. But
here's the thing.
But the guys are not doing that though. That's the thing.
What you mean the guys are not doing that? Explain that.
What you talking about? What you talk about it? Talk about not giving hugs.
No, I'm saying. I've dealt with this even. In dating, right? This is a whole other. That's a whole other show.
Right. It is,
but having men who are it's acceptable. Muslim guys on apps try to talk to me all the time. And they have in their profile I'm Muslim, blah blah blah. They whatever. But
this is why she got banned. But go ahead.
That's why I got banned. No.
They called the Haram police on you for sure.
But they'll try to talk to me and they don't know my last name, so they don't know. So then they find out and sometimes that's good. But I think it's more acceptable for Muslim men to sort of experiment and not as acceptable for the women to.
Right.
Even though they might be, but it's just sort of little down low where the men are just kind of more out there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. This is him all the time. Interesting.
I have many more stories about this.
Yo, listen, this book
gonna be.
You gotta let us do the book release.
Yeah.
Yo, that gonna be crazy.
For sure. We do a reading.
That gonna be crazy.
Well, while you here, you gotta let us know. You gotta give us one bad date.
Oh gosh.
One bad date.
Or a bad experience.
Bad experience on a date.
Either date or social media interaction.
I think the most interesting one probably was the dude who lived in the movie theater. We had talked about this before.
Whoa. Hold up.
So I met this guy. He lived in Boston during the week, but he would come to Philly on the weekends. And he had 2 jobs. So one job he would work 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then the other job he would work 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
So he's dating a Jamaican.
So...
Basically.
But then he had this period of time in between the 2 jobs, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., where he did nothing.
Right.
So he would go buy a movie ticket and sleep in the movie theater. I didn't realize this until much later that he didn't have an apartment.
Smart man.
And that he just, did this all during the week. And then he would just go... But then he would come to my house and be like, "Oh, it's a bed," and then just want to sleep in the bed and eat all my kids' snacks and stuff the whole time.
You got juicy juice?
No, literally, you got some
Capri Sun?
No, for real, yeah.
Them little Elios.
And then he would break it into thirds.
Right.
Yeah. Then he would save all his money and then go on a big trip like every 3 months and spend like $10,000.
What he posted in,
So his Instagram, if you saw his Instagram,
he was rich.
It looked like he was rich because he was in Dubai, staying at the.
So this Negro's priorities was just off.
Well, I don't know if it's priority. I mean, probably yes. The part that was most messed up to me was like this image that he was trying to portray, like, oh, I'm in London, oh, I'm in France, oh, I'm in Italy, you know, whatever. But meanwhile, you sleeping in a movie theater in the middle of the week, you know, whatever. So I didn't, but I had to put all the pieces together to find this out.
Shout out to the movie theater.
So what'd you say? Did you say something to him?
No, the last straw was just when he had like came over and he was like, you know,
took your toiletries.
He asked that I had any food. No, because he had toiletries from all the fancy hotels for like the Burj Khalifa or whatever in Dubai and what's it called? And so
Man
he
had a robe from there.
Yeah, he did. He had all the stuff, you know. But he came over. He was like eating the kids' food. He was like, "You got anything else?" I was like, "I got some grapes." He ate the grapes. Then he was like, "You got any juice?" I was like, "I got some apple juice." He was like, "What brand is the apple juice?" I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "You don't know? Didn't you buy the apple juice?" And I was just like,
I ain't gonna lie, I do that to his house. And I got,
That's
I got an
very
apartment.
different.
I do that. Listen,
You family though.
his son.
One day,
Shout out to Zay. Yo, Zay, my guy.
one day Zay was like, "You can't just come here and eat all the snacks."
You just put in on this.
Right. He like it was like Monday, you know, so she went shopping Sunday.
Yeah.
He like, it's only Monday. This gotta last all week.
But the way he said it, he was like,
he
"Yo,
was sick of you.
Why are you here?" He was like, "You here every day." Mind you, while we talking, I'm just going to his pantry
Eating
and like,
snacks.
I'm like, "Oh, you got goldfish here?
Listen.
Let me get some of that."
Yeah.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie. We don't even gotta check expiration. As soon as they get closer, I'll be like, "Oh, he gonna eat this before it expires."
Yeah.
So. One of the things that I've noticed that kind of come up on the show, right? I feel like talk about like colorism amongst the black community, because there's somebody in this room I feel like is obsessed with somebody else's color,
Oh, interesting.
and it's just really interesting to me. And
He just fills out his other colors very differently, you know.
Wait, what you mean?
Gosh.
You know, I'm just saying, like, you and her shawl look the same.
You see what I'm saying? Like
You brought it up, so I just want to say.
so I'm just,
I grew up talking about light skinned people. I mean, talking about dark skinned people.
Why?
Heavy.
Why?
So light skinned
Where
people.
did you learn that from?
Light skinned people were super soft. So I found out. Here's my thing, and this is how. As I got older, I found out, like, not talking about my grandma, but my grandma didn't like my mom because she was dark skinned.
Yeah, that's common. But
So
especially
then-
older generations.
Exactly. So then I come to find out, like, you know, just realizing this from what I hear is none of my brothers actually married black women. So their first wives were black, but then the second wives were better. You know what I mean? Oh, well, now my daughter got curly hair, and now my daughter might got this, nah. And then on top of that, the icing on the
So we got colorism, we got texturism.
we got colorism, texturism, and then on top of that,
Featurism.
you take me out of the hood and everything, and now I only go to school with Arab kids. I only go to school with Arab kids and Ethiopian kids and all this.
So this is also, I think, some anti-black racism that's specific to Islamic communities as well.
For sure,
right? Yeah,
for sure. Because
Yeah.
even my voice would change, like the code switcher. It went from, you know, I'm talking like this, talking like I'm from Baltimore, to Salamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Rahmatullahi. How are you?
cringing.
How are you? How are you?
It's so
Raid?
offensive to me right now.
Raid, how are you, my brother? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I watched my dad do it. I doubt he
that's
noticed
in
it.
Arab communities too, though, as well,
Right.
or Indian communities. I went to India for like 2 weeks this summer. It's the same thing there.
It's
You know,
Arab
a lot of
communities too.
Oh, you mean the colorism? part.
Colorism. Mhm.
Absolutely. They so in India, bleach cream is
Oh yeah,
very
Africa, a
big.
lot of African
African
countries.
too.
Yeah, bleaching cream is very big in a lot of those countries.
I mean, I think this comes to the social media too. You know, like that it's cool to look, you know, ambiguously ethnic, right? Like you want to have that look that's like not too black, but
Right.
still black-ish features. Like everybody wants to look like a light-skinned black girl or like a, you know,
my
Latina
daughter's
or
a
whatever.
product of it. You know, my daughter got
Do
the
you-
curly hair. I think my daughter's. I definitely think because
So do you
I thought
think
about
like for somebody like him, it's like a subconscious thing?
It absolutely.
Because
I
he
mean,
says one thing,
Well, here's the thing. Okay. We are all swimming in this water of white supremacy, right? And so it's so ingrained in us that you don't know you're wet, right? Do fish know they're wet? No, because you're swimming in the water. And so that's how much white supremacy and racism and anti-Black racism in particular have impacted us. So if you want to do the work to unpack that, it's a constant thing. You don't just, it's like, one of my friends talks about it as like the dental hygiene way of like unlearning things. You don't just go to the dentist and, get your tooth pulled and that's it. You floss every day to make sure you don't lose no teeth, right? So that's the thing. You got to constantly be flossing your anti-racism, anti-Blackness muscles to figure it out. So it's a constant unlearning. It's a constant vigilance of how much anti-Blackness and white supremacy culture impacts us on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that I've figured this out, right? Like I'm influenced by Instagram culture. I'm influenced by I got work done. I mean, that's a whole nother topic
that's another
too.
Show.
Yeah, so I'm saying like
Miss Jenkins.
not like I don't have a BBL or nothing like that, but what I'm saying is that, I'm saying I'm fallible, right? Like I'm swimming in it just like everybody else is, and I'm constantly trying to unlearn all the things about what makes you beautiful or what makes you, attractive and what makes you whatever. So.
You're conscious of it, and you learn where it comes from. You learn all this other stuff, but you still have those similarities. You still got those likes. You still got those, attractions. Is that wrong?
What do you mean?
Do you feel
you still attract the light skinned people even though you know it's wrong?
It's not wrong.
No, I'm not gonna say it's wrong. I'm just saying like.
So you have to reset your brain, right? So this is what I tell people. Particularly, I work with a lot of people who are dealing with like eating disorders or body image issues, right? And so what I tell them to do is, if you want to reset your brain, and you're on social media a lot, reset your feed. So instead of having Instagram baddies pop up in your feed every time you go on Instagram, unfollow those and start looking at a diversity of people and a diversity of bodies. So you start to find beauty and normalcy in other kinds of faces and bodies and images. Okay.
I did do that.
Good.
What did you do specifically?
I just stopped liking all the Arab and light skin and all this other stuff, and I started making sure.
You didn't unfollow them though.
I never followed them.
Okay,
that's the thing. I never really followed them. Like you can go.
The algorithm, man.
The algorithm is crazy, but you can go.
You like one light skinned lady, and then all of a sudden they all.
Listen. So I started I purposely was liking African women and Black women, and so. It was like, okay, my algorithm has changed now.
Good.
So now it's like all I see is Black hijabis and all that other stuff. It's still like, all right, cool. Well, do I feel bad to like light-skinned women or to like
I think the thing is, are you purposely seeking out someone because of their features, textures, and skin color?
Okay.
Right.
Well, everybody has likes.
Has preferences or things that they're attracted to.
Right,
yes,
right.
that's true.
So for me, it's like I got I'm very hyper conscious about body image as well.
Yes.
But I also can explain it. I'm a professional athlete. I was a personal trainer for a long time. Yeah. I know what I like as far as I see that. I think it's the same thing for you. Like if you see somebody talking, you can't help but be a therapist even in your own head.
Right.
You hear somebody say something, you off of work, you're not being a therapist.
You can't turn it off.
But you hear somebody say something, you be like, You really want to be like, talk about it. Talk about it a little more.
All I got to do is show up and I'm darkness.
Well, here's the thing also. One thing is to have
black leather
African booty scratcher.
Yo, listen, that was just the joke. Was a thing.
No, that was a thing.
I grew up like that was definitely a thing, and I'm not bothered by it, honestly.
Right.
I just for him, bro, you're not light. Like you brown, bro. So for me, like
I just had to learn.
If he was light skinned and we did like a light skinned, like it would make more sense to me.
Hold on, it's crazy because on the light skinned diaspora, I just like y'all soft. It's cotton.
Yeah,
like that's
you can't be too light or dark.
You can't be too light. Can't be too dark.
Right. It can't win with this dude.
First of all, I crack on everybody.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's the thing. But I did have to learn how to crack on everybody because it was a time where it was just like, nah. I never want to be your complexion because you know what I'm saying?
That's deep.
That is deep, right?
It was.
Talk about
I never want to be your complexion. But I had to learn that because
what are you associating dark skin with?
Ugly.
You want a pen and pad? Because I could.
Seriously.
Wait,
so listen, I've talked about it a lot.
What does that mean for your skin?
Wait, say it again. I didn't hear.
He said associated dark skin with being ugly.
With ugly.
Even with your skin color?
Even with my skin, it was
that's
like,
deep.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Where the kind of the self-hate comes from. The self-hate comes from like, oh yeah, you know, your skin not dark enough or your hair not good enough or something like that. I think it does come from the fact that I was around a bunch of Arab people all the time and they had, you know, they had the good hair. And then on top of that, yeah, my older brothers all married, Puerto Rican, light skin, you know, and they talked about it a lot. I want my child to have the good hair.
That's been a status symbol for black men too for a very long time. Like who made it, right? You get
ain't that what Cat Williams? Do you watch the Cat Williams?
I didn't watch it. I just saw a lot of clips.
But he definitely said like, yo, like that's the package deal.
It is.
You get the big head light skinned woman.
Funny looking light skinned woman. Yeah.
Real talk.
You can still have your preference, whatever, right? But just keep everybody else's name out your mouth, right? So like if you want to prefer light skin, whatever, just don't talk shit on a dark skin, big nose, fat, whatever black lady. Like leave them alone, let them live their life, and you go on over here with the light skinned person, right?
So I had to learn that.
But men cannot do that though. They gotta say this is what we want, and also you're real ugly.
We definitely
you know
can.
What I mean,
I had to learn to do that because I have a daughter now.
Yes,
and she has cousins. You know what I mean? My daughter's mixed, so now it's you're never going to hear me say, my daughter got good hair. Yeah, good. Or I like your complexion or something like that or something. You know what I mean? And you're always going to hear me reaffirm black beauty, like black women beauty.
See, you're learning. That's great.
Of course, I had to.
He's a little skeptic.
But
you go so
him specifically. Let me just hear this. Him specifically. Nightcrawler. Yeah. Specifically. Now, literally, because we go into the house, and it's like, man, like I'm giving words of affirmation to his daughters, to my daughter. I'm telling my daughter Lulu, I'm like, listen. Everybody got good hair. Everybody has good complexion. Yeah. All hair is good. You know what I mean? And so I'm making sure that she doesn't see no.
She's not internalizing.
Well, because I'm mixing all this other stuff. No. She's beautiful. You're beautiful. Because I don't want her going around thinking that her cousins are ugly. Yeah. And she get a better pick and all that other stuff. Now, society going.
I still think you got some like reconditioning around.
Absolutely. Everybody do. I think so.
I still think, you know.
He needs a lot more work.
Yeah.
Maybe you could start with a hug. That might help.
Oh my gosh.
If it start with a hug, maybe the blackness will rub over to me.
Right.
This is so wrong, yo.
maybe that's what'll happen.
This is so wrong.
What are some tips? I know you said, you know, basically, like you said, kind of...
Yeah, recondition your brain.
Recondition your brain. Elaborate on how you can recondition
and
your
also
brain.
You need to read, right? Like there's so many resources available to you if you want to learn about anti-blacks, if you want to learn about racism, you want to learn about colorism, texturism. I read a lot. So I always tell people like, go read, go talk to people, go look up. I mean, we have so much information at our fingertips right now. Like if you are ignorant right now, then you want to be, because there's just so much information around for you to like be able to learn about things. I mean, I just mean you.
No,
general,
you mean him.
No, I don't.
Read
mean
a book, bro.
No, I don't
read
mean him.
a book.
I do read books.
How many books you read this year?
Oh my
this year?
God.
Yeah. I'm on 2. I'm on 2.
The year just started, so that's good, right?
Yeah, I'm on 2 books.
That's not associated with any kind of school or higher learning.
No, Negro, you gave me the books.
What's the books? Right. Oh, the Will Smith book.
It's Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, okay.
And then the negotiation.
Oh.
So like, this is another thing that like, this is where, you know, yeah, I'm a crack on him, but he gives me a lot of insight. Like I actually admire him I called him yesterday. I'm like, oh, what you doing? He's like, I'm reading a book. Like I'm reading this book on this and that. And I'm like, man, this man's smart. Let me go ahead and pick up a book and read it. So definitely get a lot of, take a lot of stuff from him. I just don't take the self-hate, and
if you don't read, there's documentaries, there's TV shows. There's
I do watch a lot of documentaries,
yeah.
I do know where the colorism comes from. Yeah. The color system and all that. I can explain it very well from where it comes from,
and that's part of it, right? Like the first part is not necessarily the first part, but a part is the intellectual part. Yeah, you can still even like I said, like I teach about fat phobia and diet culture, and yet I also still went and got stuff.
That was
you know what I'm saying?
That was
And
another
so-
problem for me too.
And so it's like you can intellectualize the things, but actually putting it into practice in your own life is hard.
So
It's hard.
how do you do that?
So you're doing it though. You are having conversations about it. Right. You are reading about it. You are changing what you see, right? Like on social media.
Right.
I think therapy is a good way if you have a therapist that's skilled in, anti-Black racism specifically. Right. You also need to surround yourself with people who can have conversations about this, right? Who don't reaffirm the colorism, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go talk to your brothers and he'd be like, yeah, man, these light-skinned girls is where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's...
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah, for real, that's dope, man. I feel like we should give a hug.
Oh my gosh. Yo.
Hug that man.
What about consent, right? Let's talk about consent.
All right, you're right
I do
about
not
that.
give you consent to touch me.
Well, as you see,
you're not touching them.
I'm not touching them.
I do not give you consent.
Consent is big right
Right.
now.
Put your head on my chest.
Oh my gosh.
What is wrong with this dude?
He just wants to love you.
Something's up, man. All right. So we're going to shift a little bit.
Okay.
We'll talk about, got a list of questions here for you.
Oh boy.
Right. Just appreciate you, though. We really do appreciate you coming on and sharing, being a smart, funny, intelligent person that you
are. Hope we
ask
us some good questions for you.
Sharing insight, being open about like just your path Islamically and through all of that. Because, I just think it's so many perspectives. Like, it's not just one narrative.
Right. And one thing I want to say, too, is this helped me, too, like just being online and meeting different kinds of Muslims. Like, you don't have to be Muslim one way, right? Like, there is millions of Muslims in this world, and you can figure out where you fit into that, right? And so there might be a community that you don't feel comfortable in, but there is one that you will feel comfortable in. And you can also remember that at the end of the day, it's you and the creator. And so that's what you got to answer to, not nobody else. That's it.
And the majority of Muslims do not live in Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God.
The majority of Muslims do not live in Saudi Arabia.
The majority of people don't live
in I mean, that's just another thing.
Mostly in Africa, right? Like Muslims live in Africa.
India.
I think Malaysia, India.
Yeah, I saw so many Muslims in India that I was just really, and even another thing that I was really shocked about India too is just like the community, like in one street, you got a church, you got a masjid, you got a temple,
everybody living.
Everybody's just there together.
Living together.
When I was in Ghana and it just wasn't a big deal.
No.
It was like, yeah, we do Christmas and we do the Eid.
Yep.
Like, and we, and we do this and we do that. And it just wasn't a big deal. And they've been able to do it so like seamlessly.
Yep.
Even when we went to London. We went to London and it was like
Muslims everywhere.
I couldn't believe it.
I wanted to dislike London. I went to London too in the summer, and I was like, I want to stay here.
I ain't gonna lie, I did
English people, blah blah blah. But I got there, I was like, I like London. It was dope.
The weather though.
The weather's terrible.
Trash.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like even like the
it's colonized weather.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to go. I'm like, these colonizers, I'm not going to England. But then
it's
I
colonized weather. I loved it though. Yeah. It's colonized weather though. I understand why they came over and took everybody else.
It was like, man, if it rains one more day, I'm going somewhere where it's sun.
Right, and I'm gonna take that joint. I understand them for sure.
So, why they left? Huh?
Right.
But yeah, so just the whole thing with like with Muslims and different, like it's just funny, man. Because even like the hotel we was in. They had like, it was just a regular hotel. It was like, oh yeah, our food's halal. I was like,
in London?
In London. Yeah, like halal. I mean, so.
That's dope.
There's so many Muslims there.
It is a lot of Muslims there.
Like when I went on Hajj, it was like so eye-opening because like no one group was the majority. So like you could, miles and miles see one group of people, but that only made up a small portion of the people that was there.
Right.
The people that's performing Hajj outweigh the inhabitants. You know what I mean? Like you could, you would see like just rows and rows and rows of Nigerians or rows, you know what I mean? And it was just like,
and they could not tell the difference between me and you.
First of all, I did get mistaken for
Nigeria
for being African a couple times over there, and it was like extremely problematic. But that's a whole nother.
The first thing he said, "Salam alaikum fanini." That's a Swahili word, so I'm not making fun of anything. Just let you know, I ain't gonna just make up no word.
No, I know you are.
But all right. So look, we got some questions.
All right. What's the questions? Hit me.
All right.
That's a good one.
Which one? The first one?
Yeah, that's a real one.
All right. So this been going around on like social media, right?
Okay.
So you making food, date or for your significant other, you making spaghetti?
You cook?
I do cook, yeah.
You throw down or you cook?
No, I don't throw down.
You know there's a difference.
I know there's a difference,
You know
and I'm not that.
All right, so you make spaghetti.
Okay.
You mixing the spaghetti or you keeping the sauce and the noodle separate?
That is so funny. I keep it separate, but they tell me that's what white people do.
You keeping it?
I'm mixing
You
it.
mixing it? No.
Yeah.
No. I'm keeping mine separate.
Yeah, I'm keeping I never mix it.
I knew I ain't trust you.
I never mix it.
Yeah, but what about when you want to like heat up, when you want to reheat it or eat it again?
Because people take too much sauce. Like when you have, first of all, when you got fat people in the house like me, you gotta
eat all the sauce.
No, I'm saying you gotta mix it because I'm going to overdo the sauce. I'm gonna have extra sauce on my plate. Then I'm gonna be like, yo, what am I gonna do all the sauce now? I gotta eat it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, for my family, we had to mix it. For my family, we had to mix it. Because I was the fat boy in the house.
I'm everything.
I'm the fat boy now. Like,
is.
even at his house, I am the guy like, yo, Muhsin is here. Get your food
Hide
now.
the snacks.
Get your food now.
So you know normally like you let the guests eat first.
Oh, you can't do that.
Nah,
you can't let me
I was
have.
hospitable like 2 times, and I was like, no, this ain't gonna work. My family, this ain't gonna work for the family, dog.
Family gonna starve. Bro, my metabolism is crazy.
Yeah. Well, you're athletes.
So I'm gonna eat. But yeah, I'm putting the spaghetti.
So you mixing it?
I'm mixing it.
Yeah. For reheating purposes, I gotta.
I was told that white people keep it separate and black people mix it.
White people barely put sauce on that joint anyway. Like, I saw that joint, like noodles was pink.
Hardly no sauce.
Well, it was hardly no sauce. I wasn't feeling that.
All right. So from a food standpoint, I don't really know what they have in Baltimore, but Philly versus Baltimore, what kind of food you taking?
Separate them, but who got better food?
All right, so I'm not getting seafood from nowhere other than Baltimore
Facts.
unless I'm in New England.
Big
right?
facts.
So
Big
that's
facts.
it. Philly. I mean, Philly has good restaurants, but it's not. I would never go to a seafood restaurant here and think it's going to be as good as Baltimore.
I think coming here, Philly got more culturally better food.
Oh, interesting.
They got
Okay.
African food. They got Indian food.
yes,
You can
okay.
Mexican food, better
Yes.
Mexican food. In Baltimore, you gonna have soul food and you gonna
seafood.
have seafood.
Yep, I agree
so I'm
with
gonna
that.
go. I would definitely go to Baltimore for soul food, seafood. But if I want to go to like
More
something
diverse things.
more ethnically, diverse, I'm definitely coming here for that.
I think I was just thinking about it, like we used to have like soul food restaurants that was like kind of like nice. I'm trying to think. I can't.
Miss
Then
Tootsie's.
they
That's the
got-
only
Miss
one I
Tootsie's.
know.
Miss Tootsie
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah,
Then it was
Tootsie's,
the Relish.
Oh, Relish.
But Relish
yeah,
is
just
closed.
Yeah.
All of them close.
Now Booker's.
That's soul food.
You don't like Booker's?
Booker's is good. It's a good brunch spot. The only thing is, when you ain't got black people in the chef
Oh,
kitchen,
they don't. It's not black people cooking.
I'm just saying, like I
know.
saw, and shout out to my Latinos because they chef it up with anything.
They could cook.
Amina now.
They could cook
They
any
cook
ethnicity.
any ethnic food.
Amina's fancy though.
Oh
but
yeah. But is
Shout
it
out
soul?
to Felicia.
Is it soul food though?
It's like soul food with a twist.
I'm not a big soul food fan though. Honestly,
Really?
You don't eat fried chicken.
I
Are you
love
vegan?
it.
I'm not vegan, but I'm not like a.
Salafi.
What that got to do with food?
just
What that got to do with food?
extreme with everything. Just
Extreme.
like,
I
yeah.
just like I don't like the fried chicken in the house. I would never.
Colorism.
Anti-blackness.
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 Because it smells your house so bad.
You can
Like,
open the window.
No. Listen, if I fry chicken, I'll fry it on the back porch.
Talk about it more how you don't like that chitlin smell.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Listen, I don't think nobody like that.
You ever watch High on the Hog?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
High on the
It's a good
hog.
I haven't watched the
documentary.
whole thing.
Man,
but
I
yeah.
found out what hog mog cheese was.
Hog head cheese.
Oh my, that is disgusting. You ate that when you was Christian?
No.
Well, see, that was the thing too. My family, I never had beef or pork, so I never had to like stop eating anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, my
Parents never gave it
my
to me.
aunt, my mom's side was big on pork, so it was
was
all
around.
the way down to chitlins,
Yeah.
all the way down to there. All right, who would you play? Who would play you in the movie?
Ooh.
This is really a question for him.
Where we go? Yeah, right. Because he want to tell us who he want to play.
Right.
Are
Oh, no,
we
I
basing
don't-
this on looks or somebody who I just like?
Whatever one.
Blood
whatever.
flags, it don't matter.
So people always tell me I look like Candy Buress, Tika,
I can see that.
Tika Sumpter,
I don't know Tika.
or
I don't know Tika something.
the girl who Monique Coleman. She was in High School Musical, the black girl in High School Musical.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. They
why,
made me
why
watch.
did you see
Hear
High
me
School
out.
Musical?
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Why? Like why?
You probably saw all
You
three
a
of them
30-year-old
too.
man with a 3-year-old daughter.
And that was out like 20 years ago.
First of
Why
all,
did you see it?
Hold on. Negro, I have 15 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Ranging from one, my brothers is 6 years older than you. And then my youngest brother is 11.
Oh yeah, they've seen everything.
I got sisters. So you talking about, this is why I can talk about all the movies y'all grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can talk about all the movies they grew up with because I had to just watch it. So yes, I had to go to the movies with my sister to watch High School Musical.
It was your idea though, wasn't it?
Never.
You know all the songs,
All
don't you?
in this together. Well, that joint annoyed the heck out of me. I was pissed in there. Matter of fact, I left. I left because my father used to be like, we the protectors. Mm-hmm. So if my sisters wanted to go to the movies, I had to go. That's my man. And if my sister, stand on business.
His dad stand on business.
Yo,
bro.
he stand on business.
How many brothers you got? They single?
10.
Oh, they all single. Oh, they only like licensed girls. Never mind.
No, they all married.
Oh, okay. All right.
They all married to multiples. No, I'm just,
Okay.
everybody that's over 21 is married.
Okay.
Well, no, except for me. No, my brother not married either. So now,
Which one?
Younger brother. So
he's
yeah.
too young.
So me and my younger brother, no, we not married. But yeah, everybody, all the older ones, they married. But they 50, 51, 48, 47 or something like
that's
that.
my range. Yeah.
Let's talk about
No,
it.
no.
Let's go on.
Listen,
Let's go on a date.
No, I'm good.
She said, tell me more.
Oh, good.
They're gonna be in the book. They keep playing.
No,
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna know
I'm gonna
exactly
get
who they
sued
are.
so many times for that book. Oh my god.
Oh man, but yeah, no. He made us always go to the movies, and we couldn't like say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go to this movie."
You had to be in
because
there.
you don't know what creeps in the movie theater. So I had to watch what the majority of the family wanted to watch. Whatever the family wanted, and it's 3 girls, and it's only 2 of us.
It's 3 girls and 11 boys.
No, it's 6 girls.
Oh, 6 girls.
He talking about
But
from
for
his
the
mom.
age,
Oh, his mom.
for the
Okay,
age range that we were in,
Okay.
it was 3 girls.
Oh, okay.
It was 3 girls and 2 boys. So they always got the majority.
Who's playing you in the movie?
Michael B. Jordan.
Oh God, he too little.
And the crazy thing, he
Nick
is
Cannon.
small. He Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, Michael B. Jordan. But the crazy or JB Smooth. Me and him got the same nose.
The same head.
Got the same head too. So JB Smooth, that for sure, definitely. But we don't need another Creed.
No,
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
that's right.
We don't,
yeah,
we don't need another
already.
Creed. And JB Smooth ain't playing it, so it's only Michael B. Jordan. No, we don't need no Creeds. But yeah, all right.
What's the worst job you ever had?
Ooh, I had a lot of them. I mean, I mostly worked in social services.
I remember I used to work retail. I remember I used to work in the mall.
I did used to work in the mall. I used to work at Liz Claiborne, and I used to work at Nordstrom. They weren't that bad though. I had this one job. Oh God, I don't even know if I should say this.
Say it.
He ain't gonna see it.
Say
But
it.
it was
He ain't gonna see it.
it was a social service job, but the guy who was like my boss was like in the church, so he would like sometimes like be like one time I went in there and he like wanted to pray and pulled out some oils or something.
Did he do that?
And, like, I excused myself. I was like, "Excuse me, I'm not comfortable with this."
Wait,
and I left.
you was covering at the time, or
Was I? I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
he wanted to anoint you, huh?
I was just like, I'm gonna excuse myself from this, and he would be in like staff meetings talking
He
about
blessed you
like,
with Jesus what?
the blood and the lambs, and I just be like, I don't even know about all
Wait,
that.
what?
Because the crazy thing is, there's like a Christian black culture, you know what I mean? And I didn't grow, even though I converted pretty young, my family just didn't go to church. So I still don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know I just went to the show the other day on Friday night, and at the end they started singing all these gospel songs, and I was just like, because I just didn't go to church. So I still am not like, don't
I
really
ain't
know
gonna lie, I
about.
love me a church
Yeah.
song. I
can tell you do.
I ain't gonna hold it. I love me a church
It's not
song.
like I don't like it. I just don't know.
Anything that don't got actual Jesus in it,
You
that joint fire.
Yeah.
That joint, what? Kirk
claim it.
Franklin?
Yeah.
Kirk Franklin? I'm claiming it. We love Allah.
You be remixing songs anyway.
What? Yeah, exactly.
It's not that I don't like it. I just don't know some of the stuff that, whatever. So, he used to be like in meetings talking about the blood and the lamb. And I used to be like, oh, this is so.
There's a lot of Muslims that I wouldn't suspect that like a good gospel song.
Yeah.
That I'm like, how do
I
you
used to
even
go to Master of the Law, and the dude who did the Dan went sound like he was from Motown back in the day. He would be like,
sir.
I'm
Yes,
like,
sir.
yeah, okay.
Hey, listen, we need them Muezzins back because they always reminded you that you was black.
Yes, they did.
Shout out to them. They reminded you like, yo, we black.
Yes,
like
they did. They put their own spin on it.
Because he was in Motown behind, the janitor at the Motown singing behind.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He was singing with the Temptations and all that. But
Exactly.
I definitely appreciate them, the black Muezzins for that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the black Muezzins.
I did have one brother got up. Didn't appreciate this brother. He was funny though. He says, "Yeah, I'm gonna call Evans." All right, cool. We gonna call him. Allah is Akbar. Allah is Akbar. Keep coming to Salat. Keep coming to Salat. That's where I got that.
You're
script
like,
from.
no.
Keep coming to Salat.
He just made stuff
Hey,
up.
man.
My man said, "Keep coming."
Hey,
to
you know what
Salat."
though, man? We had a conversation and we talked about like just how like trying to connect, right? Because if you're not Muslim and you grew up in this environment and like trying to connect with like Arabic and the way things are done, it take a lot of work. It could be difficult. And all right, I'm over here. Yeah, I am trying to learn this particular way, but like these words right here actually mean something to me.
Absolutely.
And I love the message, but I need to understand it to help me become more endeared to it. So I know and I know like a lot of people criticize these brothers and stuff like that, man. But I really like I get it. Like from an empathetic, like having empathy for those brothers and what they was trying to get out of all of that. Like I get it, man. It's strange. I mean, if you Black American, you grew up in the South or anywhere, and now I gotta learn this. I barely speak English. You know what I mean? Like now you want me to learn classical Arabic and memorize all these terms and
everything got to be correct and all them. Yeah.
And on top of that, it's a level of perfection that's expected and is. I could be whoever, and automatically I get dismissed. I get, I'm like looked down upon because I'm stumbling through this language that I don't know.
That you ain't barely,
So and who even to say that I'm academic enough to kind of I don't know how to learn another language. So
and Arabic of all things, it's not an easy language
Arabic
to
is not
learn. I
easy-
mean,
easy
it's not
language.
even
forgetting
they
the
don't even
reading and writing.
They don't even
I
write
mean,
the same way.
Writing
Like,
it, forget
so
it.
then there's no vowels. Like
Right.
so
little dot here, like what?
right.
And it's for English is grammatically incorrect.
If you're like translating it,
Translating Arabic from English,
Like conjugating verbs and all
it
that.
is grammatically incorrect. It's like
So-
Janae's store went blue,
right.
like in Arabic. So
no, shout out to them brothers though, man.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
dope.
Because
Shout out to
they
the
put in a lot
brothers.
of work and
Absolutely.
like I would never want to discount their sincerity
No.
on what they was trying to do.
because they loved it more than anyone.
Or even say that one group of people is better than the other.
Facts.
So all right. So
So what we get from this is that you are not darker than me.
To sum it up,
To sum it up.
right. All right, we gotta. You want to finish these out?
Oh yeah, cheesesteak or pizza?
well, I don't eat beef, so I'm gonna go with pizza all the time.
Pizza all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a pizza guy, bro.
Would you eat a
I eat
chicken
chicken cheesesteak,
cheesesteak?
but I still am going to choose pizza.
Yo,
Okay.
yo, pizza. Listen, I had to wage war on pizza.
Pizza
dog.
is the best. It's so delicious.
Then I got a theory that everything is pizza. Like if you take like a burger, it's bread, cheese, tomato
pizza.
sauce. Like everything is pizza, dude. Like bread.
I ain't gonna lie, everything is.
Everything
Is pizza, man.
You need that on a shirt.
Right. Listen, so
Water ice or Mr. Softy?
Ooh. I took the Baltimore joint, the snowball joint.
Oh my God.
I knew I loved you. I loved you.
Cut it out.
I knew you were better than him in so many ways.
So
oh
many
my
ways,
gosh,
man.
yo. Did you hear Snowball? Did you used to put marshmallows in that joint?
No, I didn't know about that.
Ooh, so so Penn North, right? Sandtown, basically. It's a snowball truck. They put halal marshmallows.
Oh wow!
In the snowball. Oh my god!
He's too excited
Yo, I want to go there right now.
He's too
Yes.
excited.
Because I don't eat that stuff no more. So now I'm just thinking about it like, yo, that's my childhood right there. I think about that. I know your childhood was tough, but
All right. What's your favorite Philly slang word?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like John is just the obvious choice. That's so yeah. I mean, or the ball. The ball.
she said the ball.
The bull. She said the bull. She said it right.
The bull?
Yeah.
Is it the bull? Bull. Like bull was doing.
Like you're a corny bull.
I mean that.
Baltimore bull.
Wait, what's your favorite Baltimore slang word?
Coon.
Coon?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wild coon.
She went hard. Like, coon.
That's an old school one.
Do it mean the same thing?
No, I mean like it's just like somebody corny. Like
Hey, corny. Yeah, you a coon.
Yeah.
No, man. It's a little,
You offended?
a little anti-racist, anti-black.
Anti-black.
Right. Man,
The way she said it, like, what's your favorite heifer?
Right.
That's what.
Wild coon. That was my brother who used to say that all the time.
You be either use a coon or a fugazi type dude.
That's Philly too, though.
Fugazi.
Fugazi. We used to say that a lot too. I don't know. I was just.
So look, man, I once again thank you for coming.
Definitely
We appreciate it. We had a lot of fun.
It was so fun. Yeah.
It was enlightening.
Yeah. Definitely enlightening.
Man, you got some work to do.
And you got some work to do.
We all have work to do.
all got work to do.
We all have
All
work
right,
to do.
So affection, self-hate.
Bro, I'm not.
Well, give me a hug then.
No.
Exactly.
Why you feel like you
Work on yourself.
like you don't fit in the hug category, brother.
So you only hug what, kids and your wife?
I mean, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, like who's hugging men?
Anybody. My dad is a hugger. If my dad came in here, he would hug all y'all right now.
Wow.
And you would feel uncomfortable.
No.
And you would be like, Mr. Jesse, did I give you consent for that?
No, an older dude that is we can embrace. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds worse.
It does. It didn't feel good saying it either. I'm not gonna lie. But you know how you get like the bro hug, like the you know what I mean?
So I have a cousin. Shout out to Call It because he'll be proud of this. But when he gives you a hug, he hugs you, and then he puts his shoulder on you, and he like breathes.
That's an embrace, yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah, he would not.
I'm uncomfortable with it, but I do it because that's my cousin.
He'd be called SVU if that happened to him.
Yeah. Like the minute it touches, he'd be like, don't.
Exactly.
I just like y'all.
You laugh.
Nah, I appreciate it. We definitely gotta get you back one day.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like after this group hug, it's definitely
no group hugs will be happening. I just want to, on or off camera, there will be no hugging. Third party podcast.
Third party podcast.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Third party podcast.
podcast.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Y'all we out.